Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We have the pleasure of sitting down with new Ravens defensive coordinator Zach Orr. Congrats, Zach.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So just what's the emotions, of getting this job?
Oh, man, I'm excited. Thankful, grateful, a lot of emotions, but I would just say excited and determined are the two things I would describe it, man. Yeah. So it's been surreal. I'm thankful and grateful, excited that the organization and Coach Harbaugh, they have trusted me for this position, and now I'm determined to, go get the job done and help in any way I can.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of how it went down, what the process was like?
Yeah, man. So, unfortunately, we lost Sunday afternoon to Kansas City, and got a call Monday to interview with Green Bay.
Wow.
Obviously, we got, Denard Wilson's getting interviews, Mike, Chris Hewitt, Anthony Weaver. So things are going kind of fast. Can't even really process what happened, that Sunday. Came in, watched the film on Monday, and then started getting interviews. And, man, it was like a whirlwind from Monday to Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Like interviews, conversations, guys getting hired and everything. And then I just remember Coach calling me into his office, Coach Harbaugh, and was like, I'm offering you the position. Do you want it? I was like, yeah. You know what I mean? So, man, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been great. It's been great.
Cool. Did you literally accepted it on the spot right there?
I did. I was like, man, what I'm gonna say? No, or let me think about it. Nah. So, I think it was just a great opportunity, especially being here, man. Like I tell people all the time, like I bleed purple and black. Like this organization, it means something a little different to me. It's just not like any other place. And obviously, people who've left, obviously like Mike. I'm great friends with him as one of my guys. Love him for life. Was thought of potentially going with him, but he understands and understood. This is a special place, and this means a lot to me right here, man. So I have the opportunity to stay. I couldn't leave. I wasn't leaving nowhere.
Was Mike lobbying you? How hard was he working?
He was lobbying, but he knows like it was gonna be dang near impossible for me for me to leave this place. Right. Like I said, this means the most to me right here. This organization, I felt like has always been there for me. Even everybody knows about what happened in 2017 and all that, but even before then, like I'm thinking back going to the draft process when I'm coming out as a UDFA, and I'm sitting there mad and everything, felt like I should have been drafted, not early, but just at least been drafted and wasn't. And the first people who called me was people from the organization, the Baltimore Ravens. So it's just like, man, it just means something different to me here, man. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we want to talk about, obviously, your connection here to this organization is goes beyond just your time as a coach, obviously as a player, and just hearing you talk about it, it's clear to me that like this is a place that like is significant to you. Is a lot of that driven by your time here as a player?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And I honestly feel like this organization has always picked me up kind of in some of my lowest moments, as a professional athlete. Like I said, when I was coming into the draft, I went undrafted and, upset, mad, phone rings at the end of the draft. First person that calls me is a scout from the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, said, hey, we think you can play. I know you went undrafted, but feel like you got a place here in this team, and if you do what you do, you can make it. Boom. I said, I'm on my way. And then, obviously what happened when I had to retire and everything, I don't know what the next step is going to be. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And, Coach Harbaugh, Mr. Bisciotti, they called me and said, I know you want to get into coaching. We would love to have you back. Boom. I'm back. I'm getting right into it. So just this place right here, man, and then but beyond that, just the values, the principles that are in this organization, everything I stand for on and off the field. You talk about off the field being an upstanding person, a family person, a person that's showing love, right? Person who works hard. And then obviously from a football standpoint, I just love the style here. It's just, physical, playing violent, playing together, no nonsense, no matter where we're playing at, no matter who we're playing, we're going to play our style of football. And I just always, gravitated towards that. So it's like the perfect match. So, the combination of all those things like that, this is home for me right here. And like I said, this place is special. This means a lot to me.
We're definitely going to get into your backstory more because it is a wild story. But before we get to that, I think fans would definitely want to know, what's this defense going to look like under Zach Orr? Right? What are you taking from Mike? What are you taking from your experience as a player? And how is that going to shape your defense?
I mean, every offseason, I think what's made just this organization great and just kind of this scheme a very good and people want a part of it is every offseason we always trying to evolve and look. So we look at what we did well, what things we can continue to build on, make better, what we might not like and what tweaks we can make. So, we're going to be in the process of doing that. But, just to tell you what it's going to look like from a general standpoint is first thing first is we're going to play with maximum effort. We're going to play hard. We're going to play physical, violent. All right. We hitting anything that moves. We're going to hit you first and ask questions later. All right. We're going to start there. All right. We're going to execute, be on the same page, communication, alignment, assignment, technique with our fundamentals. So you're going to see a group that's going to play together. So just to really kind of sum it up, I would say violent execution. You know what I mean? Like I said, everything we're gonna do is gonna be violent out there. We're gonna run to the ball. We're gonna hit everything that moves. But the execution part, the communication, the disguises, everybody on the same page. Organized chaos, lying to the offense. So I think that's just generally speaking. No matter how we move those chess pieces and get to that, that's what I feel like we're gonna see.
It sounds like Baltimore Ravens football.
Exactly.
It sounds like the linebackers. It sounds like the way Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen and beyond played.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. We have those conversations all the time, a lot. It's it's about a mindset.
Right.
And once you click into that mindset and it becomes a lifestyle, I think that's when you start doing some special things. And I think, just PQ and Roquan, they did a great job of showing that. And then I'm even proud of other guys who got a chance to go in there and play. When they got the opportunities, they got a chance to show what they could do. And that's just coming from the mindset of that room. So it's credit to those guys, man. They bought into that mindset. They lived that mindset. It became a lifestyle. And that's just the way they roll. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for. And it just makes you real proud.
So, Zach, you're now the second youngest defensive coordinator in the NFL, 31 years old. And this is the first time I think that there's been a coordinator who now is younger than me. So now you make me feel old, Zach.
I've been feeling old in this partnership for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, that's all good. It's first time for everything.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that. Thank you. But what does that mean to you? I mean, that's got to be something significant to have this level of success so quickly.
I don't know. I guess it could mean a lot to, maybe younger coaches kind of like myself, that if you continue to work hard and you show that you're capable of the job, that you can get rewarded. But honestly, me personally, I really don't, I don't really look at the age or anything. I'm just looking at it as another opportunity, and I was the man, chosen, for the mission. So all I'm focusing on is just trying to get the job done. But, it is pretty cool when you hear that. But me personally, I'm not really, buying into it a lot.
So kind of the I guess the flip side of that, of being such a young coordinator, is that you're going to be doing a new role this year in a lot of ways, but one of them is play calling on game day.
Yep.
I'm just curious how you plan to approach that. It'll be your first time calling plays on game day. Now, when you were players, you would call those out sometimes, to the rest of the defense. But what are your thoughts about calling plays, and how do you plan to approach that aspect of the job?
Man, obviously it's a big responsibility and everything. And I think what helped me out is I have guys like, Mike. When I was in Jacksonville, I had guys tell me, like, you need to start looking at the game like you would call it. You need to start watching film and prepare like you would be a play caller, because you never know when you get the opportunity. So I've been doing that the last 3 years behind the scenes, and we have a wonderful staff here. Obviously last year led by Mike, that we game planned together. It was collaborative and everything. Obviously, the coordinator has the final, say so on what we're going to do, but just being collaborative, team effort. trusting the other coaches with their game plan areas and just putting it all together as one. And then we walk out the room having the game plan, sharing it with the players, and then going out there executing it. So I think that helped me out a lot. Obviously, it's going to be some things that you're going to have to, learn that's going to be new that I might not had to do before. But I think that's what this time is here for, the off season, the spring practices, training camp, preseason games. That way on week one, when we're kicking it off, we're ready to roll. But just from a game plan standpoint, we have our ways of doing things, and, we'll continue to do that. But it'll be a collaborative effort. For sure.
We've seen the wired clips of you on the sideline, and you get into it.
Yeah,
high energy dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I feel like sometimes it's like
Definitely.
I can see him wearing pads
Yeah.
same way,
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you feel like that passion is just who you are as a coach? Does that does that change when you're a defensive coordinator or what?
No, man. I would like to think like, okay, man, like after every play, I can't sit here and be like every big play, can't sit here celebrating everything, but that's just who I am, man. I'm just passionate about the game of football. Like, I really love the game, and ever since I played the game, I played that way. Every time I'm just watching it as a fan, I'm passionate. I'm going crazy. Whoever I'm rooting for, no matter what's going on, and then just coaching it, man. Like, I just coach with passion. Like, it's just something that's been with me, and it just comes out. I don't plan on doing it, but it just happens, and that energy just flows out. And I think it's good. I think the guys, feed off of that. So, whatever my reaction is to a play, I'm just gonna let it happen. So I'm excited.
What is Zach Orr, the coach, like kind of behind the scenes? How would you describe your coaching style?
Yeah, I would say that I'm organized, detailed, and I'm focused on the fundamentals, man. Like, at the end of the day, all the things you want to do as a football player, as a defense, it doesn't matter if your fundamentals not right and you're not focused on the details. So I make sure that that I'm very detailed on what we're looking at, what the game plan is, how we're going to get it done, how the offense is trying to attack us, and what we need to do to stop them and attack them. So that's what I am, and the guys that have been in the room with me, they'll tell you that. So I feel like I'm always going to have the guys prepared to go out there and execute at a high level. And that's my job as a coach is to get those guys to execute at a high level, let them go out there and play confident, that they know what they're doing so they can play fast, and then, let them rip. So I would say that's my style. I'm really focused on the fundamentals, man. Like, if you can do the fundamentals, let's talk about the fundamentals on defense, angles, right? Tackling, communication, making sure nothing's over our head, making sure you're not turning guys loose. That's just a few of the things. I think you get the fundamentals down, everything else will rise. I think Michael Jordan said something like that I like to use, and he's right. Yeah. You get the fundamentals down, everything else you do is going to go to the next level. So that's what I really focus on.
Right. So in your coaching journey in 2021, you left here, which I'm sure was probably a difficult decision at the time, given all that we talked about how much you love it here, and you went to Jacksonville, and it was your first year as a position coach. You coached outside linebackers there, and you were there for one season. What did that season teach you about just the role of a position coach and kind of the next step in the evolution of your career? What did you gain from that experience?
I mean, you as a position coach, you are like the defensive coordinator of that room. You are like the head coach of that room. So it kind of puts you in a different leadership position, and it kind of forces you to be organized, prepared, and you have to be on point every single day, because now you're in front of the room trying to get these guys prepared to go out there and do what they need to do on Sunday and everything like that. So me getting that experience of doing that, and also doing it at a different position that I didn't play, that I've not necessarily worked with all the time, it forced me to get into the lab to learn drills, learn more ball, and it was great for me. And it gave me opportunity to go in there and learn how to run my own room, how to be a leader of a group of guys, being the head guy of the outside linebackers, and it was good, man. And we had a tough year record wise, but it also helped me understand and how to keep guys going, even when things not necessarily going the way you want them to go. And I think that was real valuable for me. and it made me a better coach. And when I came back here, I felt like I was a better coach than when I left. So it was good.
When you came back here, it coincided with Mike McDonald then taking over as a defensive coordinator here.
Yeah.
Obviously, coaching changed in Jacksonville that offseason. You come back here. Mike and the Ravens gave you the opportunity to come back here, and then you take over the inside linebackers group, and you're coaching Patrick Queen at that time. Then Roquan Smith gets added to the mix, and I mean, I think that Ravens fans, I'm sure, agree that that's the best inside linebacker duo
easily.
And
everybody,
I think all three people sitting on this couch certainly see it that way too.
Proof's in the pudding.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
But so when you get the opportunity to come back here and then you get to coach that group, what did that mean to come back home at that point? And then just how pleased have you been with the way that position group has really developed and flourished?
It meant a lot. It meant a lot for me, and obviously, playing inside linebacker here in the Baltimore Ravens, you know how important it is. You got the GOAT, Ray Lewis, the best inside linebacker of all time, sat in these meeting rooms, sat in this organization. So we understand what the standard is. I understood that as a player coming in, and you understand that as a coach. So me coming back, having an opportunity was wonderful. And then just the guys, man, like Eric did a great job of building that room along with Coach Harbs. Obviously, Roquan and Patrick Queen, they headline that group. But the rest of the group of guys were great as well the last couple of years. And the thing that I was most proud of just see how together they played and how they pushed each other every single day and how they came to work on that practice field and in the classroom. And, look, we didn't shy away from, what was being said of, who's the best inside linebacker room in the league. Like, I put it up at the beginning of the season. I said, look, I think you guys are the best, but this is what the world thinks. You know what I mean? They rank 3rd, 4th, 5th. Hey, PQ, I think you one of the top linebackers in the league. This is where they got you ranked at, bro. I think you the best. This is where they got you ranked at. It don't matter what, it obviously matters what I think a little bit, but we got to change the outside perception. And those guys just went to work, man, and they continue to go to work. And just to see the success that they had, man, because I always preach hard work pays off. You know what I mean? It pays off. You might not know when it's going to pay off, but you better be working your butt off to see some success. Yeah. And they did that, man. They continue to work, and I mean, they seeing the fruits of their labor now. I'm so happy for those guys, man, that they're getting the recognition that they deserve and that they've earned. And that just makes you, so fulfilled as a coach, man.
So I want to go back a little bit. Obviously, your playing days, like you said, undrafted rookie free agent, work your way up, become a starter on this defense, have a phenomenal third season, second team All-Pro. You were everywhere on the field, making a ton, led the team in tackles that year, unbelievable. And then it all came to a very abrupt stop.
Yeah, it did.
Tell us, share the story of going in to meet with that doctor, what he said to you about your spine and back condition, and how that changed your framework.
Yeah, man. So I remember they sent me, it was crazy because the specialist they sent me to that they trust, who's a great doctor, was actually in Dallas. So I'm from Dallas, and it's right back home for me. So they're like, yeah, you're going to go see this specialist. We'll see what's going on. It's something that we're a little concerned about, but, we'll go see what he says. So I'm like, in my mind thinking, okay, maybe had to get some surgery or something like that, whatever the case is, do some rehab. I'm not thinking he's about to tell me, some crazy news. So sitting in the office with my dad and my agent, and, he walks in, and literally the first thing he says is, you can't play football no more. And I'm like, what'd you say? He was like, yeah, you go out here, you run risk of being paralyzed or even death. I'm like, dang. I'm like, I wasn't expecting to hear that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was tough to hear. So, I hear that news and everything, and I'm like, man. So I'm kind of in shock. So I get back in the car and everything, and then I start getting text messages, congratulating me. The All-Pro team had just came out, and I'm like, dang, so that when that happened, that's when it really started to hit me. I'm like, man, this dude just told me I can't play football no more. I'm feeling like I'm in the, I'm just getting started in my career. Like, I had a good year, but I know I could be a lot better and everything like that. And so it was tough, man. It was tough. He told me that, came crashing down. And like I tell people all the time, man, I'm so thankful I had a strong support system. Like, obviously my family was the first people to know. They was right there with me, praying with me, praying for me. Best friends did the same thing. And then, obviously when the organization found the news, they were very supportive, but it was very tough. My mind was like, it was racing. It was a tough pill to swallow. But like I said, man, having a strong support system, starting with my family and friends, and then obviously his organization, man, it helped me get through it. And my brother said something to me that always stuck with my older brother. He said that don't ask God why, ask what's next. And I think I said that in my press conference when the news broke. And my mind kind of switched to that. Now it was tough at the first year, because you obviously feel like you could still play and you're supposed to be out there. But as time went on, man, like, I'm fully invested into the coaching lifestyle, and believe it or not, I have no interest in tackling nobody at all, for real. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I've gotten to that point. I never thought I'd get to that point. I have no interest in tackling nobody. I look at the hits. I'm like,
Garrett?
No.
Gave you $5.
I'm looking. I'm like, man, that looked like it hurt. Yeah, I can't believe I did that. I'm fully on that side of things. But yeah, man. So it was a crazy range of emotions, and I did get to the point where I was like, man, it is a crazy situation, but I want, people go through stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. And if I can show that you can make something great out of this situation, man, and be an inspiration, I did kind of starting wanting to do that. And that does help drive and motivate me, because, people, life tough. Life gonna pick you up, knock you down. And, it's always tough when people get knocked down and they stay down, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think, if you show people, if you got the strength and the courage and the support to get knocked down and get back up and elevate, I think that can inspire somebody. And as long as it inspires somebody, to keep going and not let life keep them down, shoot, man, I feel like that's part of my purpose while I'm here on this earth.
So take me through when that news breaks, mm-hmm. and you have to come to the harsh reality that like your NFL career is over right as it's ascending. Yeah. You announce your retirement, and then the Ravens. How does it work that you ultimately end up working here on the coaching staff, and you were also working in personnel initially, correct? Like, tell me the story of what went on behind the scenes to ultimately get the job.
Okay, so I had mentioned, like, I remember when I first got here, I was talking, I was like, my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to play 10, 15 years, and then I was going to go back home, get into high school football coaching, thinking I was going to make, enough money and just, whatever, be good. So, people knew I had interest in, just people that, talked to me knew I had interest in, coaching and everything. Yeah. So obviously when the news happened and everything, Harbaugh, Coach Harbs was like, I know you got interest in coaching. It'll be great, if you want to, do this with us. I'm going to talk to Ozzie and Mr. Bisciotti. So one day I'm sitting at the house, back in Texas, and my phone rings, and it's Mr. Bisciotti. And he was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm doing good. He's like, well, I heard you wanted to, get into coaching. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, you're going to be a Raven. You're going to be up here with us. And I was like, all right, great. So he was like, we'll get you set up with, Harbs and Ozzie and, get it figured out. So, a couple weeks and stuff are going by. I'm like calling Ozzie, like, hey, Ozzie, hey, what's going on? What you guys got for me? He's like, well, look, just take your time for rehab. We're going to get you together. We're going to get you set up. So that summer, I came back up right at the beginning of, like, during the middle or beginning of training camp. And, Ozzie, we talked and everything. He was like, this transition period, what do you want to get into? You want to get into coaching or scouting? I'm like, I really don't know. I want to kind of experiment with both. Mm-hmm. And, so he was like, okay, we'll start you off on both. So boom, we went right to the season. I was helping out with assisting the coaches, doing everything. And quite honestly, it was quite evident, like, I was probably going to be a coach, because I was into it. You know what I mean? Okay. I liked being on the grass, being close to it, and everything of that nature. And then in the off season, I've kind of just did some projects for the personnel side, watched different positions, wrote different reports on different positions, not necessarily just linebackers or defense, did it for receivers, running backs, and all the things of that kind of nature. And Ozzie was like, just take a year to see what you want to do. And it became evident probably after the first year that I'm gonna transition to the coaching side full time. Wow. So that's how it ended up working out.
That's cool.
Yeah. What was it about? How did you catch the bug? What was it about coaching where you knew so fast, yep, this is gonna be it for me?
Man, it's just like you right there. You know what I'm saying? You basically prepare. I mean, obviously now, let me put it like this: the hour's a lot longer as a coach than a player. Let's start there. The hour's a lot longer,
and that didn't scare you off.
Yeah, it did scare me off. Man. It didn't scare me off. It's just I got used to it. But I mean, you right there, man. Just the preparation. The camaraderie, being part of the team in the meeting rooms all day, every day, on the practice field, doing the drills. You're basically doing everything besides going out there hitting people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Felt a lot closer to being a player, which you had just so recently done.
Exactly.
The front office is a pretty big change.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty big change.
Right.
It's a pretty big change. And, they definitely part of the team. They got a big part of it. But as far as being in the meeting rooms right there with the players, you know what I mean? As a coach, you get that experience every day, all day. So I just kind of gravitated towards that. I was like, yeah, this is me right here. I gotta be in the thick of things.
How tough was that first year when it probably at that point you still were interested in tackling people?
Yeah.
How difficult was flipping that mindset?
That was tough, just because you gotta think about it. Shoot, at least half of the team was my teammates just 6 months ago. You know what I mean? So just seeing those guys prepare, going to battle, and in my mind, I'm like, man, I can help these guys out, man. From a physical standpoint, I want to go out there and tackle people too, help line the people up, communicate. It was tough, especially those big games, especially those rivalry games against, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, Cleveland, or those primetime games. It would hit you, it would hit you for real. But as time, you adapt and you get better with it. But that first year was the toughest year for sure, because I was like, I know I can knock some heads off and do some stuff right now. At least in my mind, I know what the doctor said, but I know what I can do. You know what I mean? But so the first year was real tough.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that a lot of times when players come to the end of their careers, they often talk about, I want to be a coach. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes, guys don't necessarily recognize the hours. You kind of joked about that. But the other thing that I think is a challenge, and it was probably even more significant for you because you were so young. You were what? Were you 24?
24.
24 years old when your career comes to an end. Mm-hmm. And so is navigating the transition from you were once in the locker room, one of the guys, and now you're a coach. Yep. You're still friends, but you're not. You're not a peer. You're not a peer. You're a coach. Yep. And so it's like you're not hanging out in the same way. You're not joking in the same way.
Exactly.
And so how did you navigate? And I think that that is a tougher transition than people necessarily realize. How did you go about making that transition from peer to now you're a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough transition that a lot of people don't think about. But I think just the way I've always operated, let's just go about even as I was as a player, right, as a teammate. Boom, we're friends, we're hanging out. But at the end of the day, we got a job to do. We're here for one reason, ultimately, and that's to help this organization win football games and help ultimately win the big game, hoist that Lombardi trophy. So I kind of took that same as a coach. Look, man, boom, we might be same age. Some of you guys might be older than me, right? But I got a job to do as a coach, and this is my job to do, is help you guys out, help prepare. We holding each other accountable, things of that nature, all the details that come with being a coach. Because ultimately, that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. And I think when guys see that you're prepared, you're helping them out from that perspective as a coach. You're holding them accountable. You're helping them do whatever they need to do on game day. They respect it. They don't care what you look like, how old you are, what's your background. If you can help me go out there on Sunday and play to the best of my abilities, man, you got my respect as a coach. And I think when players see that, boom, they respect the position. And guys did that. They did that for me. Now, my man Terrell Suggs, he always used to walk by and tell me, "You'll never be one of them." You know what I mean? You'll always be a player. And I'm like, but they respect that, man. They respect.
That sounds like Suggs.
Has he texted you since the news here?
Nah, I haven't. I don't know. He might have, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got 800 something messages, man. So it's. Maybe, man. So all the people who text me, if I haven't got back to you, I promise you I'm not switching up. I'm not changing up. I did get big-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But going back to your point, all the player want is somebody who can help them get better. And I think as a coach, if you put in the work, you study, you prepare, you cover all the loose ends, and you present the information, you present the drills, and everything of that nature, to the player, and they see that you're helping them get better, that you're helping them, take little nuggets that they might not seen before, may not thought about, and they see that you put in the work, the real work. They respect you. Yeah. So I think I did that. I always tried to do that, and they respected the position. No matter how, there's a lot of times I was coaching guys older than me. This might have been the first year. This might be the first year that as a position coach. Yeah, I'm not coaching nobody older than me now. Josh
Bynes kept coming back.
Yeah, Josh came back. Yeah, Josh came back. That was crazy, man. He came back, and I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I'm coaching a guy who, I was a rookie. He was one of my mentors. Yeah. And it was good, man. And credit to Josh, man. He just like, boom. He's first of all, he's smart. Obviously, been a hell of a player, but I think he saw that I was prepared, and I was on my stuff. I was on point, and I put in the work. It was continue to put in the work each day, and day in, day out, and they respect it, and that's what it's about. Yeah. But the good thing about it, I think I like about it though, I like the challenge because it forced you to be on point. Because if you're not on point, this dude gonna be looking at you like, what are you talking about? That ain't what is that? Now you don't get no respect. You lose credibility. So I kind of like the challenge of me kind of being young and having to be on point, because guys are gonna challenge that if you don't come in with the right information and the right mindset and the right organization and things of that nature.
How did your playing career ending early motivate you in your coaching career?
It motivated me. It honestly did, because I always want to be in part of National Football League. Like, growing up, I'm telling you, like, my parents would always ask me, what do you want to do? I'm being an NFL football player. And some people, be like, yeah, that's great. I support that. Then some people be like, well, what else are you going to do? You know how hard it is to make the NFL? You know what I mean? And people always say teachers and everything like that. Yeah. And I'm like, I get it. I said, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to work my butt off to do everything to get there and do it. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up working out. But me as a player, my career got cut so short. I was like, man, this is not what I envisioned. I envisioned me being in the National Football League, and maybe not as a player. Now I got an opportunity to do it as a coach. Let me dive in fully into that and take advantage of this opportunity, because it's not an opportunity that everybody, specifically at my age, can get. Mm-hmm. And I got the opportunity, so I was like, man, I'm going to be in the National Football League. And I just kind of took that mindset, but it definitely motivated me a lot, because I felt like after 3 years, I couldn't be 3 years in the league and be just done with it. I had more work. I just love the challenge of being at the top level and competing at the top level.
Right. Yeah, this is the last one for me, Zach. Mm-hmm. You, to that motivation point, like, you're kind of a master motivator, I think. Yeah. And when you tell the story of putting the list up on the board and showing PQ and Roquan and talking about that, like, that I think is something that drives guys. Yeah. So what's on that list for you as you go into this job, and what are you using as a motivation, not necessarily for your players this year, but for you in this new role?
Just a challenge, just a challenge, man. Just a challenge. And first thing first is like, man, I want to win a championship. I want to win a championship here, man, in Baltimore. I want to win a Super Bowl. And to do that, you got to play great defense. So now I'm tasked with a bigger responsibility of that. That's my number one motivation right there. We got to play great defense if we want to get to where we want to get to at the end of the day, which is being the last team remaining. All right, remaining in the deal, in the league, hosting the Lombardi. So that's the number one motivation for me, is like, for us to do that, I know we got to handle business on the defensive side of things, and I'm tasked with a big responsibility of how it's going to look. So that's my number one motivation. All right. Now, besides that is just, I'm just competitive. Competitive. I want to be the best I can be. I want my guys to be the best they can be, coaches and players. So my motivation is to help them be the best player they can be. Like, I always talk about maximizing, my job as a coach is to maximize your value and extend your career. So what I mean by that is, I want you to make as much money as you can make. I want you to get all the accolades you can get as an individual player. I want you to be the best player you can be. I want you to be the best player you can be. I want to extend your career. If you want to play 10 years, God willing, 12 years, I want you to play as long as you want to play. I want you to leave on your terms if you got to say so, not because somebody says you can't play no more, right? And I honestly believe if we can get those two things done, you're going to be the best football player you can be. that's going to help us win a championship, because now you're the best player you can be at your position. Boom, you get 11 guys doing that. You have a hell of a team. So now I'm tasked with a bigger responsibility, that not just a smaller group of guys. Now it's the whole defense, but it's still the same mindset. That's my motivation. Like, I honestly tell my guys, like I told the linebackers, I said, I never thought I'd have more fun coaching football than playing football. And I said, this year I had more fun this is the most fun I had in my life.
Wow.
With football. And I honestly, genuinely want to see guys succeed. You know what I mean? Because I understand how hard they work. I understand the sacrifice that it takes to get to that level. I understand the adversity you got to go through to be a great player. So I'm trying to bring that out of the guys. So that's my motivation. So top two off the top of my head, I know we got to play great defense if we want to win the championship. So that's number one motivation. I'm tasked with responsibility with that. Number two is I want to maximize these guys' value. I want these guys to become the best players they can possibly be. Best players they could possibly be. So it's my job to help put those guys in position to do that, to help make the scheme, whatever we're doing, simple and easy for them to understand, so they can go out there, execute at a high level and play fast. All right. And then besides that, man, it's just, I understand the position I'm in, just the opportunity I got as a former player, getting this opportunity at a young age, like we talked about, just trying to put on and show that, with this opportunity, we can do great things. We can get the job done. We can lead. We can orchestrate a defense and execute at a high level. So that's it right there off the top of my head.
Love it.
Well, I think it's cool that you say, you want to help these players be able to end their careers on their terms, because
sure.
you didn't get that opportunity,
for sure.
right?
Definitely.
If I were to tell you, that day when you were in the doctor's office and they said, hey man, you got to stop playing football or you might die out there.
Yeah.
And then say, fast forward, 6 years later and say you're a defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. Like, how wild is that in your mind?
Man, it's wild. It's wild. It's wild when you think about all, like, the whole situation and how it all unfolded. It's a wild thought, but I'm not surprised, just because, man, I've worked, man. You know what I mean? I put in work. I just kept my head down, and just continue to prepare. But it's wild, man. Like, I could possibly still be playing. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be going into the 11th year of playing ball. But it is wild. I'm like, dang, man, just that to happen to now where I'm at now. I'm just so thankful and grateful for, the opportunity and the support I've received. But it is wild. It's wild, but not shocking.
Right.
It's wild.
Cool. Well, thanks, Zach. Really
appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
Congratulations, Zach.
It's always good chopping up with you guys.
Hey, multi-time guest here on the lounge.
Yeah, exactly.
Multi-time.
I'm getting up there for appearances now.
Exactly.
Like, so I'm gonna need a little something now.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Appreciate it.
We're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We also want to give a shout out to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, which is an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. They've got a limited time offer running that you don't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the promo code FLOCK. If you're a new user, you can get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Again, the promo code is FLOCK, only at DraftKings. You need to be at least 21 years or older to play and physically present in Maryland. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. So, as we close things out with Zach, multi-time lounge guest. He's one of our all-time faves. I loved him as a player, and it's been awesome to see his rise as a coach. And I think the Ravens I think John Harbaugh made a great hire with promoting Zach, and I think he's gonna thrive.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what he's gonna bring to this defense. I mean, I think we talked last week about how Zach was just one of our favorite people in the building and just an awesome guy. And now viewers and listeners get to see that, right? I mean, he just has this infectious energy about him that he's just such an optimistic, positive, energetic guy, upbeat, right? And that's infectious. You see that in the cafeteria when you go through the salad bar and he says hi to you, right? I mean, he's just got that energy about him. And I think that's what inspires his players. That's what he's also just, you could tell by the way he describes how this defense is going to play with that physical nature. Like he's got that dog mindset too. You can tell that there's still deep down in there's a little player there, right? And both those things, just being a great guy, being a great motivator, that energy that he has, I think that we saw that through Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen to a degree this season. Those guys are great players. They were great players before they started working with Zach. They're just great players. But I will say that this year, there was a bit, and even once Roquan came on board, there's a different energy about them. And I think that in part can be credited to Zach Orr. They just played really well, and I think that there was just a different edge to them that Zach helped instill a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, infectious is a good word for, I think, the vibe around Zach. Like, I think that's part of the reason when his playing career was over that the Ravens were like, you know what, I don't really want this guy to leave the building. I want him here. Yeah. I just felt like he's too much of an additive to this building, this organization, to just let him walk out the door tragically when his career comes to an end sooner than anybody expected.
Right.
And so I think that's part of the reason why the Ravens wanted him here. And that's why he's risen up the ranks this year, where he basically has 3 defensive coordinator interviews, here, Seattle and Green Bay. And so, young guy, but well deserved. And I really think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a great defensive coordinator. Yes, there's going to be a learning curve. Yes, it's going to be some new challenges. But like, this is a guy who that's why I asked him the question about the motivation piece. Like, undrafted, then goes on to be an All-Pro. Career cut short, transitions to coaching or personnel. Then a few years later, position coach. Now 7 years later, defensive coordinator. So. He's rising. I mean, I just think that, like, in any situation...
Well, people are already saying, Eric DeCosta said, we see future head coach in this guy.
Right.
Before day one of the job.
Right.
You don't hear that very often.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just think that, like, he is somebody, I think, in any situation who's going to succeed. And I think that this one is no different. So I'm fired up about him. I think the Ravens made a great call with him.
Yeah. And he's learned from Mike Macdonald the past 2 years. I understand certainly being upset about losing Mike. Right. There's nothing you can do about it when you have a great year like the Ravens did, and you're as sharp as Mike is and as great a coach as he is. He's going to get promotion opportunities. But Zach Orr was really kind of his right-hand man in a lot of ways. Coach the linebackers, that group really sets the tone for the Ravens defense. And Zach, I think, certainly learned a lot from Mike, right? So when you're upset about losing Mike, hey, how about we get the guy that just spent the past 2 years learning from him, right? Sounds great to me in terms of schematically what Mike does. I expect that probably Zach is definitely going to take a lot of that same stuff and put his spin on it in his own way. He's not going to reveal a whole lot of what that's going to be, and they still have a lot of that to figure out, right? Every year the defense continues to evolve, but I expect to see from a guy that learned from Mike a lot of those same shades in this defense moving forward.
I think schematically the defense is going to look the same. Yeah. I really do. I think that, like, it's not going to be they're not rebuilding the system. It's going to be the same system. The play calling on game day is going to be different because it's a different person doing it, and there's going to be evolutions and tweaks to it in general, but it's going to be the same Ravens system. And that's a pretty good thing because it's been a darn good system for a long time. Yeah. And so I think that now Zach has the keys, and I think that he's going to do a great job with it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. As always, you can reach us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Zach will speak with the rest of the media as well, so check out that full press conference, which will also be available on our podcast, the Ravens Press Pass. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Thanks for listening. We'll be back later this week with another episode of The Lounge.